I never thought I'd get a chance to do a video like this because I've only ever had the Creed Aventus 2020 batch and the latest 2021 batch. But I was speaking to a customer of mine on Instagram, really good guy called Rory Thomas, and he very kindly agreed to send me a few different batches from previous years so I could make this video. So Rory, if you're watching, thank you so much for supplying the fragrances to allow this video to happen. As I've only been on my fragrance journey for around 2 years, I think it's fair to say that I missed out on the golden years of Aventus. So I'm very happy to be able to host this video for you and talk about the earlier batches and compare them with the more recent batches. I'll let you know my thoughts on each batch, which one is my favourite, and if I think the newer batches of Aventus are worth it. So stay right there and enjoy the video. When people used to talk about the smokiness in Aventus, I never quite knew what they meant, because the Aventuses I've tried, whilst there might be a tiny bit of smoke in the background in the fragrances, it's not anything you can really highlight as going, oh, it's really smoky. But when I tried this is batch 13ZZ01, made in 2013, I can really understand what people meant by the smokiness. It's very realistic and it stays through the whole life of the fragrance. I've actually got a sample of it and you can smell the smoke coming from the cap itself, so it shows how strong Aventus used to be and shows how realistic and also interesting the smokiness is. So now I understand what people meant, and it's a shame that it's not in there anymore. I think it could be something to do with an IFRA regulation, maybe a certain chemical was banned in perfumery, but it's a real shame because this batch 13ZZ01 is lovely, very smoky, nice bit of pineapple, and then in the dry down a slight greenness and woodiness comes through, but the smokiness stays there through the life. Next batch, 16D01 from 2016. Now this one opened up being very juicy and sweet on the opening. The pineapple was there but really prominent, really juicy, lovely sweetness to it, and as it dried down you got the greenness from the birch tar and the oak moss come through. But overall this whole batch was really well blended, really well balanced, and as the dry down came the pineapple got slightly sour, so it was quite sweet as well, but it also had some sourness to it, but overall really well balanced, and I really enjoyed this one. So this is 16D01 from 2016. Now this one is actually my bottle. This is from 2017. This is 17V01. Now I find this one to be a lot greener and mossier than the other fragrances that I'd just spoke about previously. The pineapple's toned down, it's not as juicy, not as sweet, but the oak moss and the birch patchouli, in a sense, come through a lot stronger at the beginning. As it dries down, I noticed a slight creaminess, smokiness, and the vanilla come through kind of quite strongly at the end. And when I say smokiness, I don't mean anything like the 13 batch that we spoke about at the start of this video. It's just there, but it's in the background, but you can sort of pick up a smokiness if you're looking for it. But this, as I said, a lot greener, and this one reminds me more of something like Hakivat from the Shani in terms that it's more green and more mossy. So this is 17V01, and it's a lot greener. Next one is also from 2017. It's 17Y01. So similar to my bottle, which was V01, made in the same year, but it's a different batch, and it smells completely different. This is much more heavy in the pineapple at the beginning. It's fruitier, it's juicier, and it's sweeter. The vanilla is more pronounced. The birch tar, patchouli, oak moss turned right down, and this is much more sweet. So now I'm really understanding when people say it's a fruitier batch, a smokier batch, a musky batch or something. I can really understand the differences now, and this one a lot heavier in the pineapple, the bergamot. There's perhaps some green apple in there as well, but this is very nice, very sweet, and very juicy. This is 17Y01. And the last one from the 2017 batch, and this is where things got really interesting for me. This is 17W01. This is very dark, and I've never smelled or even heard about a dark Aventus batch before, but this one, from straight away when you first sprayed it, is very dark. The pineapple is toned right back, so it's still kind of there in the opening, but it's toned right back. You've almost got kind of a more green fruity note in the opening, and it goes to a much darker version of Aventus that I've tried before. I don't know if that's because the leather is maybe toned up, or perhaps the patchouli. Sometimes with patchouli it can seem more kind of a darker fragrance, and I think that's what's happened here, more mysterious. But this one is my favourite so far, even though I love the smokiness in the 2013 batch. But this one, super interesting, very dark, very mysterious, and very, very sexy. So this one is 17W01, and it's my favourite so far. We're into 2018 now with 18G11. So they're made in 2018. This is actually very creamy and very, very sweet. The vanilla is very heavy and prominent in this one. It's not very fresh. Like a lot of the times you think of Aventus as it's a real fresh, summery fragrance, but this is not so much. This is really creamy, really sweet, and I'd actually say this is a cold weather version of Aventus. So if you want to wear Aventus in the cold weather, and sometimes the fresher, fruitier batches don't quite cut through the cold weather, this one would work really well. This is 18G11, and very sweet. I love the vanilla. Vanilla is one of my favourite notes, and that really shines in this fragrance, and you don't always get that in a lot of batches in Aventus. It's kind of hidden in the background, and it just blends the fresher notes together. But this one, it really shines, so I'm really liking this one. Great for the cold weather, 18G11. On 2019, this is 19U11. This is very, very sharp in the opening. It's a fresh pineapple, very airy, completely different to the last 2018 batch we just tried with the creamy vanilla. This has not much vanilla in it from what I can tell. It's very airy, very sparkling, and this would work really well when you're on a summer vacation, laying by the pool all day. You go home, take a shower, and then you spray this on. This will work really well, really project out and stand out well in the summer heat. So completely different to the last batch, very airy, very fruity, and very sexy. This is 19U11. The last one we're going to talk about is a more recent batch. This is my big 500ml bottle that I have here. This batch code is 21W01B, so made in 2021, so really recent batch. Now this one has a slight tanginess to it. Overall, really well blended, kind of sticks to the fresh fruitiness Aventus vibe. It's not very dark. The vanilla is not very strong, and the patchouli doesn't come through much either, but it's a real kind of fruity, invigorating pineapple, bergamot, and I really smell green apple in this one. The birch and oak moss come through more towards the end, so more towards the back end of the fragrance journey. In the dry down, you'll get the birch and the oak moss come through with the musk, but overall this is really sticking to the kind of fresh, fruity pineapple vibe. But it's actually really good. This is the 2021 batch. So I got it recently, and overall I think it is quite good. Obviously the price has increased quite a lot with Creed fragrances over the last couple of years, but overall this one's not bad. This is a recent batch, 21W01B. Some take-home messages from what we've just learnt. The smokiness in the 2013 batch is all but gone in anything after that. Maybe it was an IFRA regulation, but if you can get any kind of batch that's 2013 or before, that smokiness is amazing. Batch variations are a thing. From someone that never really looked into this before, I now really understand kind of the batch hunting that people do, although I would really steer clear of paying in excess prices for vintage bottles of anything. If you're looking on eBay, you can look at some old batches, and people are asking for sometimes thousands of pounds. It's really just not worth spending that kind of money. But if you can get one at a good price, then by all means go for it, but don't waste your money. The dark, mysterious Aventus is amazing. Really enjoyed that. It's probably my favourite from all of the batches that we tried. Found it very sexy, very mysterious, and really loved what they did with the formulation there. I'm not a huge fan of the mossy green, sort of oak mossy notes in Aventus. I think Hakivat by Nishani does that sort of variation really well, and also performs better than the Aventuses that I've tried. So I love the fruitiness, I love the freshness, I love the smokiness, but the kind of oak moss heavy greener batches I'm not as keen on. And I would say that my bottle, the big 500ml bottle that I've got, it is still worth it. It's not there's not huge differences between the kind of the quality anyway in the 18, 19, 21 batches that I've tried. So if you're wary about still buying Aventus, I would still say that it's a good buy if you like that DNA. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you found this video useful, entertaining, or you just got something from it in general. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. It would help me out massively and would make me realize that you are enjoying the videos. Don't be a dreamer, be a visionary, and I will see you guys in a few days with another video. Take care.